So I think right now he's going through a phase, but you can maybe inspire him and say, there's a whole other side to sports, to basketball, other than just playing basketball.
Yeah.
From a business sense, and get him going that way.
Yeah, while we're on the subject here, I think young people tends to be very narrow-minded in their way of thinking. How do you help young people, like, how to start thinking earlier, or, not to be so stubborn in their way of thinking? I mean, it has to do with just, how they are as a person, but also about setting goals, like you were saying, or thinking ahead, that kind of stuff. So what kind of advice do you usually give young people?
I think young people need to be exposed to a lot of different people and situations and environments. I think that the more they can get out of the country and travel, the better off they are, because they're exposed to other cultures. We try to travel at least once a year.
You mean company trip?
No, I'm talking about my children.
Your family, okay.
Yeah. And I like to take them, we take 2 trips a year, one in the summer to go back to the States, because that's where I grew up, and their grandparents are still there.
Okay.
And the other one is regional, whether it's here in Asia or maybe somewhere else, to get them exposed to how other people live, other lifestyles, to widen their horizon, if you will. And I think that's important, number one. Number two is that I'm an advocate of work experience.
Okay.
At a very young age, to get them out there in the workforce, get them out there in the quote-unquote the real world, and let them see what the real world is all about. I think there's a conflict, cultural conflict with that sense, because a lot of the parents here
in Taiwan,
a lot of the parents say, well, school is everything, school is everything, school is everything, and anything that takes away from that is a distraction. Working is one, sports is another one. So everything's dominated by reading and studying, which is great, which is okay. But we talked about there has to be a balance. And we talked about that last time, is when I interview people and I look at their resume, and I don't even look at their grade point average. It doesn't even resonate to me, because I know that's not important for what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an employee who has potential, who has work experience, who's mature, who can help me and help my company. And that's not necessarily a grade point average or a number on a piece of paper. So going back to what I'm saying is, they should get a lot of work experience and meet a lot of people. That will widen their horizon. And that might inspire them to say, hey, I met this guy, you know what, and he's doing this thing, and that really interests me.
Yeah.
And you never would have had that interest if you didn't meet that person, either on a trip or working or doing whatever. And I think that's important.
You're right. What are your sons like? Talk about that.
I'm saying all this, my sons, I'm trying to get them to do the same thing, get them out there and meet more people.
They're on the way.
My sons, they're like your son. They like sports. They talk about sports all the time. It's a different generation now. It's a very digital generation. So everybody's on their mobile device, or they're watching YouTube. So that's a little bit different for me to handle. I was just telling a friend of mine, I was telling the coach, a player, I'm the coach, and I was telling the player, I said, why don't you call the kids up and tell them we got practice on Sunday. He says, okay. So come Sunday, I said, what happened? How come nobody showed up, or half the people showed up? Well, he said, I posted it. I go, huh? On our days, we call. Okay. So if I call 5 people and 4 people say they're going to make it, and one person says no, 4 people are going to make it, and so-and-so is not going to make it because he has, he's an appointment. Nowadays, they say, oh, I posted it. So after you post it, he doesn't know who saw it, who didn't see it. So it was a surprise to him. So there's the kind of a generation gap.
Oh, no, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that is a problem.
It is a problem. But, my kids are like any other kids. They love sports, and they go to a school that's very demanding, very competitive. So they have a lot of homework to do. But
are your sons very similar in personality? I'm sure they're very different.
They're very different.
What's your older son like?
My older son is probably a little bit more outgoing than my younger son.
Really?
Yeah, my younger son is, he plays basketball. He plays on the basketball team at school.
Well, they both play basketball, right?
Well, they both like to play basketball. One actually plays. The other one, my older son, doesn't play competitively.
That's
interesting. He just likes to go out and shoot and play street ball.
But your younger son, you say he's more quiet.
Yeah, my younger son is, it's kind of interesting. My younger son is very similar to me when I was growing up. I could see a lot of
Really?
similarities. I play a lot of sports, but still very shy underneath that. And I could see that in him as well. So I try to get him out of his shell. And I think basketball helps him. Basketball definitely helps, and that's why I encourage him to play basketball.
Okay.
But again, I think that he also has he's well grounded relative to school. He knows that school is the most important.
So he's the balanced kind of kid.
He's a balanced kind of kid.
He's good at school and he's good at sports. I like this kind of kids.
I think I think that I've really encouraged him to play sports, but also that sports is not going to be the means to your end in the future. You can learn a lot from sports, and I said, I've learned a lot from sports. I've learned a lot from sports, but I know that one day that I'm going to have to transition, and he knows that.
He understands.
Yeah, and he's played competitive. Last summer, he played in a Las Vegas tournament.
Really?
Yeah, and it was an all-star of all the all-star teams. We call them AAU teams in the U.S. And he saw the players and he said, "Wow, these guys are good."
See, this is where you brought your son and open their eyes. That's why you say travel more, see more,
and that will give you an idea. Sometimes you don't even have to tell them. Sometimes they look. I know my son walked in and he looked and he says, "Wow, these guys are all my age. They're all bigger than me. They all jump higher than me." It kind of gave him a kind of a awakening, if you will, a reality check.
But he wasn't intimidated.
He probably wasn't intimidated until he started to play.
Okay.
But I think he said, "You know what? Maybe I need to have a backup."
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. My son, he thinks he's so good at basketball. I don't often see him play, but in the back of my mind, I would think like, if only I would find someone who plays even better than him.
There's a lot.
Then he would be humbled.
You should invite him to come and play with us, and then he will see some real good basketball players. Really, basketball players are real skilled.
Yeah.
And he'll say, and I'll guarantee you, he'll say, "You know what?
Have second thoughts.
I like basketball, but basketball may not be my future." And I think it's just another way of not telling him, but just showing him.
Yeah.
And let
it's
him,
okay, right? That I think that way.
I think your thinking is right. Your thinking is right. And me being a former athlete, I can say that your thinking is absolutely right.
Really?
Yeah, but it's hard. He's at that stage right now where he has a passion for the game.
Yeah.
And that's great. You got to have passion for something. Mm-hmm. But if you can turn that passion to something that will help you in the future, that's even better.
Wow.
That's even better. So I look forward to meeting your son one of these days.
Now I got talking about him so much.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you're a good daddy.
I try. I try to lead by example. I think it's I get up before my kids get up, and they get up early. I get up even earlier because it's my habit, and they see me go to work in the morning.
Why do you get up that early? You exercise before you come into work?
I do exercise before I go to work.
What do you do? Jog?
I like to swim. So after I got hurt,
sport.
the doctor says, "Listen, you should swim," and swimming could be a lifetime activity. Jogging and any of that high intensity or compact.
I agree.
The knees and the joints. So swimming is nice. I think also swimming is very soothing.
Yeah.
When you're in the water, if you talk to people who swim, there's this feeling of tranquility when you're in the water. It's deafening. When you're in the water, you hear nothing.
Right.
Which is very, very
And that's a good time to think.
It's a good time to think.
Right.
I do a lot of thinking in the water.
I know.
I have I call a partner, and we keep each other honest. So in the mornings, he'll give me a text. It says,
"What?"
A partner, a swimming partner.
Oh.
Because we'll keep each other honest by, we won't be able to cheat. Say, "Oh, I don't want to go today." Because if he goes,
I get
then
it.
you go. You say, "Oh, he's going to go, then I got to go."
You live close to each other?
We don't live too close to each other, but we meet at the pool.
At the same pool?
Yeah, so he'll say 6:30, okay, be there 6:30.
He works here?
He doesn't work here, no. No, but it's good to have a partner. You keep each other honest.
Yeah.
So you won't toe line,
Right.
So,
well, does it sound like I swim? I don't. But my husband swims.
Good.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that he says swimming is like breathing, just like normal breathing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, what are you talking about? But he is so smooth in the water. He's just like a big whale to me. He's kind of moving slowly because he's big.
Yeah.
But yes,
That's yeah. I
like
think
zero impact, and it's a great kind of sport. I know
great
it's a
sport.
very safe, the best kind of sport,
a lot of people
whole body wise.
Yeah, a lot of people get discouraged in the beginning because it's
Yeah,
tiring.
because I'm afraid of the water.
But once you learn, it's like anything. Once you get good at it, it becomes very addictive, and it's a good addiction. The swimming.
So you learned swimming after basketball?
Well, I swam. I grew up in near the coast, so I was always by the beach. So I was always a pretty decent swimmer, but not a swimmer like I am now, whereby I'm swimming a lot.
All right.
So, because I was swimming was boring. Swimming was boring. I would much rather be body surfing at the beach. But
You
now,
surf too?
I used to surf when I was I grew up like 3 miles from the beach.
Tell me, a tall person like you're what, 190?
198.
Yeah, I knew I was getting it wrong. It's 198 centimeters. Okay, is it is it good for someone that tall to surf? Actually, I mean, you know what I mean? The height, kind of a handful.
No, there's probably if you say, well, technically you're probably a little bit too high because your center of gravity is higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a big issue with that.
Okay.
I don't think there's an advantage or disadvantage.
Would you say you're a good surfer?
No. As a matter of fact, I did a team building function, an event earlier this year, and I took all my directors to the coast here in Taipei, in Taiwan, up at the coast, and we surfed.
They all knew how to surf.
They didn't. Nobody
right?
knew how to surf.
So
I had teachers, I had coaches, and everybody had a surfboard, and we had like 3 or 4 coaches, and everybody stood up. Everybody got up on a wave, and everybody got up several times, and they just enjoyed it because it was the team building was something that you never ever did, you never ever you think you would ever do, and to be able to do it and to enjoy it. And we had a great afternoon at the beach, and we went there in a bus, and we had refreshments, and everybody surfed, and then we came back, and it was quite enjoyable, quite memorable.
that's a very American way to do for American bosses, is to take their directors or employees even and just go do team building kind of activities. Do you think Taiwan is catching more onto this thing?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's so important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to team building, teamwork. To answer your question, here in Taiwan, there are a lot of places now. A lot of them do cooking and team building.
Cooking?
Yeah.
Cooking?
Yeah, they have cooking studios, kitchen.
Yeah.
And you bring in your employees and you cook together. And that's a way of building teamwork. There's one now that's called Escape Artist.
I know that.
You paint.
Yeah.
And you paint that. So there's a lot of these, a lot of them. Chinese is more towards eating and drinking.
I was just going to say.
Which is, that's their culture. But even within that framework, you can also achieve the team building philosophy, the spirit. People are cooking, and after you cook, you eat and have fun. A lot of it's wine tasting. So to answer your question, yes, it's going to be becoming much more common now. Because we're becoming more global. Even here in Taiwan, we're much more global, much more international, and the management style is becoming much more consistent with what they're doing overseas. So yes.
Well, that is great, because it's funny. Taiwanese people are so into work, and the outcome more so than the process getting there. So I'm sure you're doing great as the big boss of Costco Taiwan. What is the mentality you give to your employees? One last thing.
I think the most thing I want to share with my employees is, work hard, but the quality of your life is very important.
Oh.
And I don't think that when people work, that's all they do is work, and they don't have a very happy lifestyle or a very quote-unquote happy life, I don't think that's very productive. I think the happier you are at home and the healthier you are, the more productive you'll be as an employee. If you come to work and you're unhealthy or you're sick and you're unhappy, that rubs off on your employees. That rubs off on your coworkers.
Do they get that?
They get that. I hope they get that. I said, listen, when you're done with your work, go home. Don't stay here because you want to clock in 10 hours.
Yeah,
when you're done, go home.
Yeah, in Taiwan there's the overtime culture here. So.
Well, it's not very productive.
I know.
We really focus on productivity, on efficiency. And to be productive, be efficient, I think you got to be a happy person. And if
you
the happier you are, the better work you
Here's
do.
a happy Richard.
I try to be happy.
This is really great. Well, I learned a lot more from you again,
Well,
Richard.
thank you.
So very
Thank
much
you.
for
Thank
your
you for
time.
coming.
All right. So have a happy day today.
I will.
I know I will too.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much for watching, people. I'm Shirley Lin.